I haven't filled them yet.
I know.
Give me time.
Are you ever coming back?
We're coming back on Sunday, and then I don't know.
Did we put this up so that everybody attends the Zoom meeting that tries to watch?
Yes, you, depending on which way you clicked, you were either right in the meeting or you were directed to the YouTube live stream.
Okay, so people could go on YouTube.
Correct, they have a choice.
Yeah, so some of the questions could be, just verbal right here in the meeting from attendees, or some may come in on the YouTube, which I'm watching at the same time. We are live. Here comes Todd.
Hi, Venus.
Is that Venus?
She around for a little excitement. She gave her business to P&Z yesterday. This is the challenge of the Zoom call.
Hi,
Pretty
Todd.
hard to keep her quiet.
Hello.
We have wildlife.
You have a wildlife, Nancy?
That's right. Yeah, right here in Epping Road. Very quiet.
My latest thing is I'm trapping chipmunks. It's quite interesting. I haven't got the heart
Judy and
to
Brenda
drown.
told me she drowned 30 of them.
I can't. Who did that?
Judy. She
Oh.
drowned 30-something chipmunks.
I can't do that.
What are you doing with them?
Letting them loose.
Where?
Elsewhere. Not by you, Nancy. Don't worry.
Please, I have
Over on
one
Epping.
to share.
It would take a lot of them to make a chipmunk coat. Fur
Oof,
coat.
I don't like those either. Fake isn't good enough.
Time. 6 o'clock.
Okay, but everybody's just tuning in, Nance. We can take a deep breath.
Oh, I thought you were going to call it to order.
Well, I will in a minute. How's it looking, Tom?
We have 12 participants in the meeting itself right now. And
Okay,
we are live streaming.
okay. And Lou is trying to get in.
He's just
Or
connected
Dave, I
to the
should say.
moderator. Yeah, he's got his video.
It's trying to connect.
There she is.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, Mayor Schneider. How are you?
Good. Glad you're here, attending. Oh, boy.
Not mine. Not mine.
This time it's mine. Can you tell when they're logging in, Tom? Do we have more logging in?
Well, as they try to
Hi,
log
Lou and
in,
Dave. I think you're now on.
we have 14 on right now,
Okay.
including iPad 6, whoever that is.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to call to order the Gates Mills Riparian Ordinance hearing on October 7th, 2020. And we are here. I want to welcome everybody to the meeting. I did invite Council, P&Z, and our Land Conservancy to attend because this is going to be a tool for all those that were invited. This has been to P&Z and was voted through, and it's been to Council and read 3 times. And we're ready for a vote there. The Chagrin Watershed Partners have been helping us along the way with the Riparian Ordinance, and they did a presentation to us, and I think it was in the late or early fall of last year. And then we've had their presentation on our website, a link so that you could visit it again and see it. It's very well done. And tonight, we're going to have a smaller presentation, and Kim Brewster from Chagrin Watershed Partners is going to do that for us. And at the end, we'll take any questions or whatever at the end. Tom will give us those questions. So with that, Kim, if you'd like to go forward.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Brewster with Chagrin River Watershed Partners. I'm Deputy Director with CRWP. We also have Heather Elmer here in our meeting, our Executive Director of CRWP. So I want to thank the village and all of its residents for your time this evening. I'm going to go ahead and screen share. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. And if you have any trouble hearing me this evening, just let me know and I'll be sure to adjust something here. So anyway, to help prepare for our discussion tonight, I'm just going to provide a really short overview of the benefits of protecting healthy streamside areas for residents, communities, and the Chagrin River watershed. And then I'll also just briefly describe the adoption of riparian setbacks as a zoning tool that communities can use to help maintain these areas and the benefits that they provide. So as the mayor indicated, a full version of this presentation is on the village's website, and I encourage anyone listening tonight to check that out if you're interested in more detail on this topic. So just very briefly, wanted to provide some more background on the Chagrin River Watershed Partners, and our work with the village. The Chagrin River Watershed, or the area of land that drains to the Chagrin River, is about a 267 square mile area that spreads across portions of 4 counties in Northeast Ohio. So Gates Mills is located entirely within the Chagrin River watershed. And as we all know, the Chagrin River flows right through the village. The Chagrin River is a state designated scenic river, and its watershed has a lot of high quality habitats and cold water streams that help support a diversity of plant and animal species, and also provide a lot of recreational opportunities for people too. So although it's a high quality watershed, it's also impacted by development activities, which can increase flooding, erosion, and water quality problems. So over 20 years ago, 16 communities, and that includes Gates Mills, formed the Chagrin River Watershed Partners in order to pool knowledge and resources to cost effectively keep the watershed healthy as communities grow. And so today, the partners' 35 member communities, counties, and park districts represent over 91% of the watershed in Cuyahoga, Geauga, Lake, and Portage counties. So Gates Mills Village has been a founding member since 1996, and we're really grateful for their support. And we provide a variety of services to our member communities, such as providing technical recommendations to landowners and also assisting communities with updates to their codes for more effective watershed management. So that's just a little more background about who I am, in addition to Heather, and how we're helping the village with this process. So during tonight's presentation, using the word riparian quite a bit. It's not a word all of us use in our everyday conversations. So I just wanted to clarify, a riparian area is the area of land along rivers or streams, which when this area remains naturally vegetated, it provides many benefits to communities. So stormwater is one of the primary challenges in the Chagrin River watershed and many other Northeast Ohio watersheds. Stormwater, what it is precipitation that falls onto the landscape and flows directly to our waterways without being treated at any sort of treatment facility. As our communities are developed, natural vegetated landscapes are replaced with impervious surfaces. So things like roads, driveways, parking lots, roofs, etc. And when precipitation falls onto these hard impervious surfaces during a storm event, that stormwater flows faster over those surfaces and it picks up energy and pollutants as it flows to our storm sewers and to our streams, again, untreated. So this can increase, the increase in stormwater can lead to things like flooding, erosion, and other water quality concerns for residents and communities. You see some pictures on the slide here of some local examples of flooding, erosion, and sedimentation of streams. So healthy riparian areas where natural vegetation is allowed to remain in place can provide a lot of protection against these stormwater challenges. So vegetated riparian areas do lots of things. They help soak up and slow down flood flows. And the roots of the vegetation in those riparian areas can help hold stream bank soils in place and help prevent erosion. Also, these vegetated riparian areas can help filter pollutants from stormwater. So things like sediment, nutrients, and other types of pollutants. And then finally, people enjoy the Chagrin River and its watershed for things like fishing, boating, hiking, and all sorts of activities. And healthy riparian areas can really help protect the high quality of these streams that we rely on for those types of activities. And as you'll see, as we'll talk about tonight, riparian setback zoning is a tool to help maintain all these free services as land is developed or even redeveloped within the watershed. So this graphic just briefly shows that the wider the area along a stream that is kept vegetated and healthy, the more of those free services that are provided to residents and the community. So things all the way from stream bank stabilization to flood control, providing wildlife habitat, and so forth. So now I'm going to discuss a tool that communities can use to maintain these areas and the benefits that they provide. So riparian setbacks, again, are a zoning tool that communities can use to maintain these free riparian functions as communities grow and as land is developed or redeveloped. Riparian setbacks control the location of soil disturbing activities within that riparian zone. So they're really similar to other zoning tools such as front and side yard setbacks. And riparian setbacks can also be flexed with other setbacks to allow that riparian setback area to be maintained without making that lot unbuildable. So riparian setbacks aren't intended to prevent development, but really just to find the best location for development on a particular property. So several reasons for riparian setbacks I just want to briefly review. They're an important local zoning tool because they help maintain those free services we've talked about. They also lower costs to residents and communities by keeping homes, infrastructure, things like bridges and other structures and other types of property out of the path of streams, which are always changing, without decreasing property values. Riparian setbacks are also a best management practice that's recommended by Ohio EPA, and they help meet their total maximum daily load requirements of the state stormwater requirements. Finally, the protection of these riparian areas only really happens at the local level. as state and federal agencies, they regulate activities within the stream channel itself, but these agencies are not responsible for maintaining the function of those riparian or streamside areas outside of the stream channel. So it's really, again, up to those local communities to provide that protection of these riparian areas. Here's a map showing the Chagrin River watershed. You can see Gates Mills kind of in the middle, slightly left of center there in the middle of our watershed. And you can see other communities in Northeast Ohio. Over 80 communities across the state have adopted riparian setbacks. And 17 communities in the Chagrin River watershed have adopted riparian setbacks or other types of codes that help protect natural areas during development. Many of those communities have used our model code that we have and is available on our website if anyone's interested. We've also worked with many communities through the adoption process. So just to conclude here, when those streamside or riparian areas are kept healthy, they provide lots of free services to residents, communities, and our watershed. Riparian setbacks are a tool in the zoning toolbox that many Northeast Ohio communities are using to help preserve these services. Riparian setbacks are a preventative and cost-effective alternative to engineered solutions to stormwater and erosion problems. Although structural solutions, specifically those incorporating a bioengineering approach, so an approach with both hard structures and soft structures like woody material and vegetation, although those types of approaches might be recommended in certain situations to address stormwater problem hotspots within the community, riparian setbacks can be part of the community's overall stormwater management program for flood control, erosion control, and for water quality protection. And then finally here, I'd just like to emphasize that, again, riparian setbacks aren't intended to prevent development or redevelopment at all, but really just to find the best location for development on a particular property. So that's my presentation. Again, there's a video with a more detailed presentation on the village's website. But with that, I'd love to open it up to questions that I can address, or Heather or other representatives from the village. So I will go ahead and stop my screen sharing here.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Very nice. Do we have any questions from our council or anybody attending before we get to Mary? Go ahead. Mary. Mary's frozen. Oh,
I'm frozen, sorry.
it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, listen, if you can hear me, I don't need to see myself on TV or on the screen, but I wanted to compliment you on the presentation. It was very succinct, but what really impressed me, and I don't remember seeing the slide before, but I certainly think that it really is the most conclusive evidence that this is the right thing to do for Gates Mills out of all of the presentations and all the slides I've seen from you and the partnership in the past. And that was your second to last slide, where it showed the communities that are already have riparian setbacks along the actual Chagrin River. And the community of Gates Mills was like the only non-green, meaning like the only non-participating member thus far, from the south all the way up to, the north.
Lake County,
Willoughby and so forth, right directly into the lake. And once Gates Mills hopefully passes this riparian setback ordinance, you can see that we have a complete grid of green protection from the lake all the way down, south toward well below Moreland Hills and so forth. And that's a really compelling slide that this is the right thing for Gates Mills to do. Because it's the river runs right through each one of those communities.
Yeah, this is Chris Courtney, the village engineer. I'd like to also add that you can see all the green on this map, and Chagrin River Watershed Partners has been involved in the implementation of almost all these communities. And as we've discussed previously, we've talked with these communities about bad experiences they've had with the Riparian Ordinance, and many of them have been in place for years, and there are little, if any, bad stories that go with this Riparian Ordinance. In fact, it's the contrary. It's worked out well in all these communities in green. So we would not be on the bleeding edge of adopting this sort of an ordinance. There's lots of good experience. They're good, they work, and we've discussed that previously, but I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mary. Do you want to open that up again, Kim, so I can see the people? Sorry. Okay.
Mayor,
Any other questions?
Mayor, that would be a great, if council chooses to approve this, which I hope they do, and I know we've up to this point been totally in support of it, but that would be a wonderful graphic to add to the pink sheet. If we could do so effectively. I know we don't print in color, but it does look like Gates Mills, that last missing link, you know, to a really outstanding system of proper river stewardship.
Maybe you could send that to us, Kim, and we could include that not only in the pink sheet, we could put it on our website too.
Perfect, perfect.
Sure.
Good idea. Anybody have anything else before we see if there's questions from YouTube, I guess?
I just wanted to do
Mayor?
a technical question. If someone's on the phone only and they hit *6, that's how they can unmute themselves from your phone. Because not everyone knows that they *6 to unmute when you're just dialing in with a phone.
Okay. Todd, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I might add that my law firm has represented the village of Moreland Hills off and on for about 40 years. And Moreland Hills, of course, has a riparian setback ordinance and has for quite some time. I'm currently special counsel in Moreland Hills for planning and zoning. And in the 10 months or 9 months that I've been doing it, I have had the opportunity to be engaged with that setback ordinance on at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 different cases that have come before the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals, and it has worked really well. And there have really not been any issues or legal issues that have been raised with respect to that.
Great, good to know. Anyone else? Tom or Jean, are there questions from outside the? No?
We have 6 people watching the live stream on YouTube.
Okay.
We don't have any questions. And kind of going back to what Jean was saying about the person that's called in, last 4 digits of 4463. You are muted. If you had a question, you would need to unmute.
Okay, and also for everyone, this will be on the October council meeting, which is next Tuesday evening. So if there are other questions, we could certainly answer them at that time also.
Mayor, if I could hit on just a couple points that I think Kim drove home very well. One is compliance with total maximum daily load, or TMDL, which is going to be a part of our phase 2 stormwater permit, and riparian setbacks are likely going to be required in a later version of our phase 2 stormwater permit with EPA. As Todd mentioned, and I've worked through this on the private consulting side. This ordinance works well. It's well thought out. It's got a good history. And as Kim mentioned, it's not meant to prevent development, but make sure that things are done intelligently and in the right location. And my experience has been that it really facilitates a great discussion between the community and its residents in order to best locate improvements so that future maintenance costs and damage are going to be minimized, and that we're protecting our natural resources.
Terrific. Anyone else? If not, I guess, Ann, do you want to add anything?
No, all set. Thank you, Kim.
I think we're good. I thank you, Kim. Thank you, Heather, for coming and everybody else. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Great.
Thank you.
Looking
Have a good
forward-
evening.
Thank you, everybody.
forward to this.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Good night. everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Mayor and everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.